So LeBron James was revealed by his agent is going to opt out of his contract with the Lakers later this summer and will enter the transfer portal. He will be a free agent. Now, keep in mind, from a financial standpoint, it makes sense for LeBron to opt out, even if he's planning on staying in La La Land because he can get more money. But we're hearing that the Sixers are one of the latest teams that has entered the chat and are said to be considering a run at LeBron James. Of course, there are multiple teams that are lining up to take a flyer on that stiff Bronny James to try to convince LeBron to come to their team. So the Sixers, though, are considering several impact players. They're trying to find someone, anyone, that can be a number 2 to Joel Embiid. They tried James Harden. That didn't work. They had Ben Simmons. He's, the Aussie muffed it. He can't play. He's a weak sauce. So they're trying to find somebody who could be that number 2 option, and Philadelphia can go on a run in the playoffs. So let us discuss the question. The Sixers, reports over the weekend saying that the Sixers are window shopping LeBron James. Would he play in Philadelphia? Would LeBron play in Philadelphia? So I am shaking my head. You can't see me, but I'm shaking my head no. And if I keep shaking my head no, I'm going to get a headache. And I'm going to get dizzy. So I'm not going to keep shaking my head no. But I've got miniature horses, downrange, and French. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make the Baba Ganoush. We're going to make the Baba Ganoush. So number one. Number one. So if you look at the track record of LeBron, because typically the track record tells you what's going to happen. It doesn't guarantee it's going to happen, but it gives you a pretty good indicator of what's going to happen. So LeBron has played in Cleveland. He's from Akron, so that's geographically desirable. Played in Miami, La Vida Loca, and La La Land. Those are what's known in basketball parlance as safe spaces on the professional sports map. LeBron is used to being swooned all over. That's right. Just massage LeBron. That's what's happened. Everywhere he's gone. Absolutely. That does not happen in Philly. It will not happen. It's known as, of course, the city of brotherly love. We have great listeners in Philadelphia, but that's a place for their athletes. Does not always go so well. And riddle me this, Batman, when has LeBron been willing to take a backseat to anybody? The idea that LeBron would go to Philadelphia and be a number 2 option to Joel Embiid is farcical. It's poppycock. It's not going to happen, right? And LeBron spends much of his time verklempt. He's hypersensitive. Even though he's in places where they kiss his derriere, like Miami, L.A., Cleveland back in the day. But he would need around-the-clock access, LeBron, if he played in Philadelphia, to an emotional support miniature horse. You got to get one of those miniature horses for LeBron because he does have faulty wiring. Things would get very chippy very fast. As a talk show host, I would love it. I fully rubber stamp LeBron going to a place like Philadelphia. No more Mr. Nice Guy in Philly. Man, would that be a bad fit, but I would love to see it. It's much more realistic to see LeBron go to a place like Arizona, the Valley of the Sun. There's certain places. Now, you go to Florida because you got Ponce de Leon. But if you're in the West and you want to retire, a lot of people go to Arizona. You go hang out in the Arizona. Great golfing. I don't know if LeBron's a golfer there. It's close enough to L.A. You can get back. It's a short flight. Until they have a team in Vegas, that's a good option. Now, page 2. To the swap meet we go. Again, this is a byproduct. This Maller monologue, a byproduct by the conference finals being a total dud. Another day and another report on the trade speculation machine about Trae Young and his absolute lack of popularity. Now, Trae Young has a lot of accolades. If you go to his basketball reference page, he's had a lot of accomplishments in his career, all-star appearances, things like that. But Atlanta sucked at a time you cannot suck, and they're said to be looking to shake it up. And it's said that the Hawks are looking to unload either Trae Young and or DeJounte Murray. But the speculation is that Among rival NBA teams looking to acquire a player from Atlanta, DeJounte Murray is more of a palatable option for those teams looking to make a move. So the question, why is a bona fide all-star like Trae Young getting shrapnel on the NBA trade market speculation? So some of this is likely false, but Trae Young does have diva personified. He's the epitome of a diva. And that does end up boomeranging back in your face. He's been known as a coach killer in Atlanta, that the Hawks have changed coaches quite often, and Trae believes he doesn't need to listen to any of them. And people also have just loose lips. And Trae Young getting caught downrange. You don't want to get caught downrange. He's been caught downrange. He's catching some strays. And it appears that many people have those vendettas. They have a vendetta against this guy, right? Trae Young's reputation precedes him. Excess baggage, making him an acquired taste. Now, that said, if the Hawks continue to fish, someone is going to buy, right? Trae Young scores too many points. He's too dynamic an offensive player. He's like a designated hitter in baseball. He doesn't play much defense, but he's a very good offensive player. All right, final point. I want to circle back now. I want to circle back to the spawn of LeBron, as we like to call him on this show, Scrawny Bronny. So Scrawny Bronny, we are 30 days away from the collegiate / I didn't go to college, or I went to the G League, or I went to Europe selection show. And Bronny James making some headlines over the holiday weekend. Bronny James' reputation is one of, I'm the son of LeBron, but I'm not getting this attention because of LeBron, right? I'm not here. I'm not being talked about for the draft because of LeBron, which we know is complete, you know what, right? So Bronny James' agent wants you to know, and me to know, and every team in the association to know that the former USC guard will not be signing one of those two-way contracts should he be selected, say, in the second round of the upcoming draft. Now, the guy involved in this, Clutch Sports, Kingpin, LeBron James, Toady, Rich Paul, has confirmed that he would not agree to terms on a two-way deal if Bronny were to be offered such by a select team in the NBA. Now, it's essentially a warning shot. It's a warning shot from the teams for the teams in the NBA. It's like, hey, don't even mess around. Bronny James is not going to the G League. He's not. Now, the question, this warning that Bronny James will not go to the G League, what does this tell you? What does this tell you? So I will psychoanalyze this. It tells you that Bronny James is high maintenance. He's a high maintenance ball player. He has been empowered by the luxury lifestyle of his daddy, right? And you would expect that, right? He grew up in the lap of luxury as the spawn of LeBron, and he wants special treatment. And I would say check yourself before you wreck yourself. This is a 6'1" guard who was a backup on a sub-500 college team, averaged less than 5 points a game, and now you're telling the world you're too good to go to the G League? Excuse my French, but that is chicken feathers. That is horse badunky-dunk. All right, come on. Right? Most second-round picks, most find themselves like a human yo-yo, up and down, spin it all around, in between the NBA and the G League. That's just the way life is when you're a second-round pick. And then eventually, if you stick around long enough and you show something, that you're able to find your way to use a crowbar to open up the door and get a spot on a roster. But you're not given one. And from the sound of it, it's all chatter. But it's from Rich Paul that Bronny James is not going to settle for a two-way contract. So if you believe Rich Paul, Scrawny Bronny is way too good for that. And, of course, if all things were equal, this would eliminate any chance of Bronny James being drafted. But since teams think that they can get LeBron, it's a brilliant move by LeBron to opt out of his Laker contract because he can then lead these teams on and wait until after the draft to make sure his kid is drafted. The whole thing is an oy vey situation, right? It's an oy. I mean, seriously. What's going on with this? Anyway,